Have you ever walked into a room and felt like the wallpaper had more presence than you? Like you could wave your arms, do a little dance, or even set your hair on fire and still, no one would notice. Yeah, we've all had those days. It's strange, isn't it? To be surrounded by people, family, co-workers, the cashier at the grocery store who doesn't even make eye contact and still feel completely unseen, like a ghost in your own life, but not the cool kind with unfinished business and dramatic. Music just the kind that quietly does the dishes and wonders if anyone would notice if you stopped. Now listen, before your mind takes a deeper dive into the "I'm not good enough" ocean. Let's pause. Take a breath. You're here. You're breathing, and that's not nothing. What if I told you there are truths, quiet, powerful truths that don't disappear just because you feel invisible? They're still there, like stars in the daylight. You just need the right kind of night to see them. So, before you start believing the lies your tired mind whispers in the dark, let me offer you something else, something kinder, something real. Here are 7 truths for those invisible moments, because you are not gone, forgotten, or useless. You're just human, and that is already extraordinary. Number 1. You are not meant to be loud to be worthy. Let's get this out of the way first. Not everyone was born to be the loudest voice in the room. Some of us are more like gentle background music, subtle, soft, easy to overlook, but sorely miss the moment we're gone. And maybe that's you. Maybe you spent your life being the quiet one, the one who listens more than speaks, who helps without needing applause, who sits in the back row so others can shine in the spotlight. But lately, that silence has started to feel a little hollow. Like invisibility isn't just a feeling, it's become a place you live in. Let me tell you something tender but true. Your value isn't measured in decibels. You don't need to shout to be significant. You don't have to be noticed to be necessary. Think about the moon. She doesn't make a sound. She doesn't demand anything. Yet people write poetry about her. Even the ocean rises and falls for her. You're allowed to take up quiet space in this world. Your presence matters, even if it doesn't echo. Your kindness, your thoughts, the way you care, the way you see others when no one sees you. Those things are powerful. And here's a secret most people won't admit. Some of the loudest people in the room are shouting because they're scared of being invisible too. Noise doesn't always mean strength. Silence doesn't always mean weakness. So, if today you're feeling unseen, remember this. You don't have to change your nature to be worthy. You don't have to turn yourself up just to prove you exist. You are not a volume to be adjusted. You are a story quietly unfolding page by beautiful page, and stories like yours, they stay with people long after the noise is gone. Number 2, feeling invisible doesn't mean you've disappeared. Let's talk about that strange sensation when it feels like people look right through you. They smile politely, nod at the right time, maybe even say your name, but you can't help but wonder, are they really seeing me? Or just a well-behaved blur of existence? It's okay. You're not alone in that feeling. And no, you haven't disappeared, despite what your reflection might try to convince you on a tired Tuesday morning. Here's the thing. Invisibility is often not about how others see you, but about how you see yourself. When we feel like we have no role, no impact, no why, it starts to mess with our sense of visibility. You could be in a room full of people who love you and still feel like a background character in your own life. But just because you feel invisible doesn't mean you vanished. You are still here, still moving hearts in quiet ways, still shaping moments without even realizing it. Remember the air? We don't see it, but we breathe because of it. It fills our lungs. It holds the scent of flowers, carries laughter, cools our skin on summer nights, and yet we rarely stop to thank it. That's you. You may not be seen all the time, but you are felt, and felt deeply. And maybe, just maybe, this moment of invisibility is not punishment, but pause. A pause to remind you to look inward. To remember who you are when no one is clapping, to rebuild your worth without needing mirrors or mentions. So know, My friend, you have not disappeared. You're just going through a quiet chapter. And even in silence, the story goes on, and you're still the main character. If this video brought a smile to your face or warmed your heart, don't forget to tap the like button. Number 3, your existence is not a mistake. Let's have a heart-to-heart. Have you ever had that quiet, nagging thought that says, maybe the world would spin just fine without me? Or worse, maybe it would spin better. It's a painful idea. And it can sneak into your mind in the middle of an ordinary day while folding laundry, scrolling endlessly, or lying in bed with the lights off and too many thoughts on. Here's what I need you to hear right now. Especially if that voice has been louder than usual. You are not an accident. You are not a burden. You are not some cosmic typo that the universe forgot to correct. You are a deliberate, breathing, feeling, laughing, crying, wonderfully flawed miracle. Yes, you, even on your worst day, even when you haven't showered in 3 days and your socks don't match and you ate cereal for dinner out of a mug because all the bowls were dirty. Even then you matter. The world doesn't just need inventors and performers and social media influencers. It needs listeners. It needs quiet shoulders and soft glances. It needs people who ask, "Are you okay?" and mean it. People who show up when it's uncomfortable. People who stay when it's boring. People like you. Think about this. A tree doesn't bear fruit every season. Some seasons, it just stands there still, bare, waiting. But no one says, "Ooh, useless tree." No, we trust it. We wait. We know spring will come. So if you're in a season where nothing feels blooming, where your days feel small and your worth feels even smaller, I want you to hold this truth close. Your value isn't tied to your productivity. You are not a task. You are a soul. And your presence, quiet, tired, gentle, is still a gift. A gift this world didn't make, but was lucky enough to receive. Number 4, you've touched more lives than you'll ever know. It's funny, isn't it? We often remember every little awkward moment we've ever had, like that time we waved back at someone who wasn't waving at us. But when it comes to the good we've done, we forget. We forget the smile we gave to a stranger who was having a terrible day. We forget the kind word we said in passing, that someone held on to like a lifeline. We forget the times we listened when someone needed to vent, or helped quietly behind the scenes, or simply showed up when no one else did. Because the truth is, impact isn't always loud. It doesn't always get applause or likes or framed certificates. Sometimes it's as invisible as you feel right now, but just because you don't see, your influence doesn't mean it's not real. Think of it like this. When you drop a pebble into a lake, you only see the first few ripples. The rest carry on, far beyond your sight. Your kindness works the same way that time you made someone laugh. When they were on the edge, that memory still lives in them. That quiet moment you chose patience instead of anger, it softened someone's heart. Even your presence, your steady, quiet existence may have been the only thing keeping someone else from falling apart. And maybe no one ever told you. Maybe they were too shy, or too overwhelmed, or too late. But that doesn't mean you didn't change something. Someone, somewhere. You may never get to see all the results of your kindness, but they're out there living in people's better choices, in their comfort, in their tiny acts of courage that you help spark. So if you're sitting here wondering whether you've ever made a difference in this world, let me say this as clearly as I can. You already have. More than you know, more than they'll ever say, more than you'll ever see. And that kind of legacy, it doesn't fade, even when you feel invisible. Number 5, being overlooked doesn't mean you're undeserving. Let's be honest, it stings, doesn't it? When someone gets chosen and it's not you, when your message gets left unseen, when people interrupt you or talk over you or forget to introduce you again, there's a kind of ache that comes from being overlooked. It's quiet, but deep. like a chair that's always left empty at the family dinner, even though you're standing right there, waving your arms, going, "Hey, I exist too." But let me offer this gentle reminder, one that might be hard to believe right now. Just because they didn't choose you doesn't mean you weren't worthy of being chosen. Just because they didn't see your light doesn't mean you weren't shining. Sometimes people are simply too distracted, too preoccupied, too wrapped up in their own chaos to notice the beauty right beside them. Sometimes they're looking for fireworks, loud, flashy, temporary. And you, my friend, are candlelight warm, constant, quietly glowing even when no one's watching. It's not that you weren't good enough. It's that they weren't still enough to see. And here's a thought. Do you want to be seen by people who only value noise? Do you really want your worth measured by those who can't sit long enough to see your depth? The right people, your people, won't need you to perform. They'll see you as you are. They'll pause, lean in, and stay. Not because you begged for space, but because your presence feels like home. So don't let their lack of recognition dim your flame. You weren't born to be approved. You were born to be authentic. And trust me, authenticity is rare, sometimes too rare for the wrong eyes to appreciate. But you're not here for everyone. You're here for the ones who get it, who get you. And just because it hasn't happened yet, doesn't mean it won't. Number 6. This isn't the end of your story. When the silence stretches too long, when the phone stays quiet and the calendar's empty, it's easy to wonder if maybe your story's already been told, that the exciting bits have passed, the credits are rolling, and now you're just sitting through a long, awkward encore no one asked for. But listen carefully. You are not a finished book, not a closed chapter, not a summary printed in small type at the back of a dusty library shelf. You are a story still being written, and some of the best stories, they take time, they wander, they go through a few strange plot twists, some delays, maybe even a dramatic pause for snacks and crying. You might feel like nothing's changing right now, like every day is a repeat of the last, same view out the window, same thoughts on loop, same cup of tea, reheated twice, forgotten once. But even in that stillness, life is happening. You are growing. Quietly, you are healing. Even if it's not obvious, you are preparing for something your current self can't yet. Imagine, some chapters are just transition pages. They're not flashy, not quotable, not even particularly pretty, but they are necessary. They hold the weight that carries the rest of the plot forward. And don't forget, a quiet page in your story doesn't mean it lacks meaning. It might just be the breath before the breakthrough, the silence before the song. Besides, have you noticed how the characters we love most in stories are the ones who endure something? Who fall, stumble, question themselves, and get back up anyway. Who laugh again, cry again, love again. That's you. You're still here, still turning pages, still discovering who you are in the spaces no one else sees. So, no, this isn't your ending. This is a comma, a pause, a gentle turning of the page. And what comes next? Well, that part's still yours to write. Number 7, you are still becoming. If you take nothing else from this, let it be this. You are not done. Yes, you've been through things. Yes, you carry invisible bruises and days you'd rather forget. Yes, sometimes you feel like the world passed you by while you were standing still, wondering if anyone would ever notice you were missing. But the truth? You are still becoming, even now, even here, even when nothing seems to be moving forward. Becoming doesn't always look like climbing a mountain or building a legacy. Sometimes it looks like choosing to get out of bed when the weight says stay down. Sometimes it's saying no for the first time, or saying yes after being scared for too long. Sometimes becoming means forgiving yourself for all the moments you thought you should have been stronger, faster, wiser, more, but couldn't, didn't, weren't. And that's okay, because healing isn't linear, and growth isn't a checklist. You don't become a masterpiece overnight. You already are one, in progress. And progress, dear one, is beautiful even when messy, even when slow, even when you take 2 steps forward and 1 emotional meltdown back. So let's stop measuring your life in grand moments. Start measuring it in softness, in laughter that returns after silence, in the way your heart still hopes. Even after being disappointed, the world needs more becoming, more quiet strength, more people who've been invisible and choose to love anyway. You are still becoming the kind of person someone else will quietly thank the universe for. You are still becoming the friend you needed when you were younger. You are still becoming the kind of story that ends not with fireworks, but with deep peace and a whisper that says, I lived, I mattered, I was love. So breathe, rest your shoulders, and remind yourself you are not behind, you are not forgotten, you are becoming. And that is more than enough. If you made it this far, then maybe, just maybe, some part of your heart needed to hear these words today. And if that's true, then know this. You were never invisible here. Not to us, not to the ones who understand the quiet weight of being unseen. This video isn't just about motivation. It's about reminding you of your worth, even in the still moments, the silent rooms, the unanswered texts. It's about reclaiming your space in a noisy world. And above all, it's about healing gently, honestly, and at your own pace. So if even one line from this touched you, leave us a comment. Tell us which truth spoke the loudest. Because when you speak, someone else out there feels less alone. And if you think someone you love might need this message, please share this video with them. You never know how powerful your kindness can be. Like this video if it helped you feel seen. Drop a comment, we do read everyone. Share this with a friend who's been feeling lost, and subscribe to our channel for more videos that speak to the soul, especially when the world feels a little too loud. This space was made for you, the dreamers, the feelers, the quiet hearts still learning to beat louder again. From our heart to yours, thank you for being here. You matter, you're becoming, and we see you always.